When you think of Marvel's first superhero, who comes to mind? Iron Man, the genius billionaire? Captain America, the patriotic soldier? Or maybe Spider-Man, the friendly neighborhood icon? What if I told you the first Marvel superhero wasn't any of them? In fact, it was a fiery, almost forgotten character, born in the pages of a comic long before the Marvel Universe we know today. This is the untold story of Marvel's very first superhero. And it's not who you think. Our story begins in the late 1930s. The world was on the brink of war. In America, comic books were exploding in popularity. DC Comics had just introduced Superman in 1938 and Batman in 1939. Two heroes that sparked a revolution. But in 1939, a struggling magazine publisher in New York, called Timely Publications, was about to make history of its own. This small company, founded by Martin Goodman, would one day become the empire we know as Marvel. Goodman wanted his own superheroes to compete with Superman and Batman, so he hired writer-artist Carl Burgos to create a character unlike anything the world had ever seen. In October 1939, in the very first issue of Marvel Comics #1, the world met the company's first superhero, the Human Torch. But wait, this isn't the Johnny Storm you know from the Fantastic Four. No, this was an android created by a scientist who burst into flames whenever exposed to oxygen. The Human Torch was unlike any hero before him. He wasn't an alien like Superman. He wasn't a vigilante like Batman. He was a man-made being, a scientific creation. And he terrified the public. Instead of being celebrated as a hero, people feared him as a monster. And yet, beneath the flames, the Torch wanted nothing more than to be human and to be accepted. This complex story of a misunderstood hero struggling with his own existence made the Human Torch one of the most unique characters of the golden age of comics. But the Human Torch wasn't the only groundbreaking figure in Marvel Comics #1. The same issue introduced another legend, Namor the Submariner. Namor was one of the very first anti-heroes in comics. Half human, half Atlantean, with a temper as explosive as his powers. Long before Wolverine or Deadpool, Namor blurred the line between hero and villain. And then came a rivalry for the ages, the Human Torch versus Namor. These epic battles lit up the golden age of comics, quite literally bringing fire and water to the page. Together, they set the foundation for what would become the Marvel Universe. The Human Torch continued his adventures throughout the 1940s, becoming a symbol of Marvel's earliest days. He even joined forces with Captain America in the Invaders, one of Marvel's first super teams. But by the 1950s, superheroes began to fade in popularity. The Human Torch disappeared from comics, until the 1960s when Marvel was reborn under Stan Lee and Jack Kirby. Lee and Kirby reinvented the Human Torch, not as the android, but as Johnny Storm of the Fantastic Four, a direct tribute to the very first Marvel hero that came before. So every time Johnny Storm shouts, "Flame on!" he carries the fire of the original Marvel superhero from 1939. Before Iron Man built his suit, before Captain America raised his shield, before Spider-Man swung through New York, there was a man made of fire, the Human Torch, the world's first Marvel superhero. And that is the story Marvel fans almost forgot. If you loved uncovering this hidden chapter of Marvel history, hit subscribe to The World's First. We explore the forgotten origins, surprising twists, and the real stories behind the legends you thought you knew. Because every legend begins with a first.